me like a battery. I'm staying charged on my feet. I'm like a factory. Dropping lines like an assembly.
How you doing, guys? Welcome to Zuka Tube, and today we're going to be reviewing Weird, the Al Yankovic Story. Now, this initial release was September 8th, but then it just recently got released on Roku digital streaming or whatever, and it's free to watch for everybody. Before we start, if you can like, comment, share, subscribe, and rumble, I'm going to go through, read the summary, we'll watch the trailer, I'll go through my review, and then we'll do a little bit of spoilers at the end. Now, the summary is, the unexaggerated true story about the greatest musician of our time. From a conventional upbringing where the playing of the accordion was a sin, Weird Al Yankovic rebels and makes his dream of changing the words to world-renowned songs come true. An instant success and sex symbol, Al lives an excessive lifestyle and pursues an infamous romance that nearly destroys him. All right, so obviously that's pretty goofy. Anybody that's watched, Weird Al's show or his, first movie, knows that Weird Al, he does some really silly stuff on screen. Now, it's not him in this. This is Daniel Radcliffe portraying him, but obviously, Weird Al himself has a big hand in this. He is in the movie itself as well, but just cameo kind of thing. I'm not spoiling anything crazy, but let's get into this trailer.
Hope you guys are ready for this.
Yes. The accordion. Daniel Radcliffe.
Like a surgeon.
Anyone got an accordion?
Over-exaggerated Weird Al.
Like a surgeon. Hey! Getting for the best.
What can I say? I'm full of surprises.
I can hear your heartbeat.
Yeah, so that's the trailer there. It generally sums up how ridiculous this film is. It's over the top. It's got a really huge cast. Aside from obviously Daniel Radcliffe, there's tons of people in this film. It's like a kind of play-by-play of an over-exaggerated and super sarcastic telling of his upbringing, right? And how he became Weird Al and, what his life was like growing up. But it's all over the top, and it just continuously goes further and further more into the exaggerated realm as his life progresses, right? And it's very much outside of what you would ever think of Weird Al. They make him they show in the trailer there, he's drinking, kind of getting wild. He's just doing crazy stuff. Like in the other trailer, they have Madonna's in it and they have a big relationship. So there's no spoilers there on anything. If you've seen all the trailers, I didn't want to play a 3-minute trailer, but there's just a lot of over the top stuff. And especially if you've seen UHF, which is awesome film. Weird Al's first film, UHF, came out when I was born in 1989. So it's been a while since we've seen an official Weird Al movie. But it is a shame that Weird Al isn't the main star in this. It's just Daniel Radcliffe portraying him. Now, he does an all right job. There's a lot of really funny jokes that I think he does pretty well throughout. I would say that there's a lot of stuff here and there that are so-so. They kind of drag little parts, but overall it's really funny the way they play off of his upbringing, right? Especially when they say it was a sin to have an accordion. In the beginning, it's so over the top, and it's just so silly how they demonize the accordion and the idea that you can go out and party at a polka party, and it's real risque, and it's just a really silly, fun movie. And I feel you have to be a major Weird Al fan to enjoy any of this. Absolutely. That's the one disclaimer I'm going to say right now. You have to be a Weird Al fan. And I don't know much about Weird Al. Okay, so maybe I'm kidding. I'm a big Weird Al fan. Like I have him. He signed my White and Nerdy action figure and my regular Weird Al action figure. Like I have a ton of his stuff, all about it. So I feel like I'm one of those people in the category to have been really excited about this. And the sound is great. Obviously, if you're a Weird Al fan, it's really funny watching how they do like plays on how he thought of these songs and how they make it like this over the top, like, you know, like it was a message that came down to him or something, or like he was just like, it was so crazy and awe-inspiring, you know. It's really funny. I would say that the way it's shot, it's a, you know, low-budget film. I think they spent about $8 million on this, but it's really funny. The effects are still really funny. There's some practical effects that are good and very up the alley of the classic Weird Al stuff, especially because they do a lot of shout-outs to his actual stuff that he's done in his videos, and they show like real clips of Weird Al mixed in with obviously new stuff with Daniel Radcliffe as him. Overall, I don't want to give too many spoilers on the film because it's mostly just him and his upbringing and him becoming this big rock star doing these parody songs, right? And that's the general gist of things. And overall, I would give this a 7.5 out of 10. And I'm going to tell you the two things that really dropped it down a couple pegs for me, because I really would have thought like if this would have been like a Weird Al like impersonator type guy with a lot of actual Weird Al in it, as like a random other character or something, I probably would have been like way more up in like the 8.5 range, probably a 9, because I love Weird Al, right? You know, so that kind of knocks it down. And the whole relationship with Madonna thing, I feel like they kind of extend that throughout the entire, like, it's like a major aspect of the film. It's all over the place in the film. There's a lot of stuff that obviously is all throughout it, but you feel like with the short span of things, some things are too long, and you would have liked to have seen them cut short. You know, some of it's not as enjoyable or not as funny to me. But yeah, with that being said, a 7.5 out of 10 for this one, and let's get into the spoiler section. Okay, so you find out that this big thing is that, like, at the end, Weird Al dies in, like, 1985. Like, way before he got to make, well, a few years before he got to make, obviously, UHF and all that. So, like, none of that existed. And it's funny that they did that. And at the same time, like, the story that made that happen up to that point was like, like, because I didn't like the Madonna stuff as much, but that was a big focus, like them and going to fight Pablo Escobar, and it was silly. And then she becomes a drug lord, and they split up, and then eventually, like, he gets assassinated. That stuff was all, the assassination part was funny, but the rest of it was just like super, like, drug out, especially with like the overarching aspect of the plot of him becoming like a total drunken asshole, and then like being in a overly fast, overly like sexual relationship with Madonna. That actually like was kind of almost cringy at points and annoying. That's I would give this a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, you got to be a Weird Al fan to enjoy this, but if you are, you'll definitely still enjoy this no matter what. It's a decent enough film. It's not the level of, you know, the old Weird Al stuff like Weird Al TV and UHF, but it's definitely a fun watch for sure. Definitely check it out, and it's free, so check it out on the Roku thing. You know, 7.5 out of 10. Zuka 2.
Feel like they tracking me. Yo, let me get on one. Not gonna get your tracks up. Homie, can I steal some? Homie, you can't stack up. My brother, can you shout me? You're barking up the wrong tree. My dog, why do you doubt me? Cause you can't do shit without me.
Real like the radio and never play it, but that's cool. The enemy's supposed to hate it.